We're playing NeoBrand, the deck that combines Neoform and Griselbrand, but in today's video, we're making it better using a brand new card from Murders at KARLOV Manor. Let's go check it out. That brand new card from Murders at KARLOV Manor would be Hedge Maze, the blue-green surveil land, and if you're unfamiliar with this card, we're about to read it. So, like a temple, and that would be the Scry lands, it is a land that taps for a blue or a green, it enters the battlefield tapped, and then you can surveil one instead of scry one. Scry would put that card on the bottom, surveil would put it to the graveyard. Okay, so they're pretty similar. The major difference is that this land has basic land types, so you're able to search for it using Misty Rainforest, a Verdant Catacomb, and this Wooded Foothills. Okay, so that makes it pretty interesting. But today we're playing Generous End over the Turntimber Symbiosis, and that allows us to also search out Hedge Maze. That's a mouthful of a land name to say, by the way. We're also playing two basics. That's because we're not playing Preordained today, and instead we're playing Abundant Harvest and Elven Farsight. With adding Generous End to the deck, we are now up to 18 creatures for Elven Farsight, and that's a pretty high density, which means that we are able to cast it off basic forest, which is good, but also by playing two basic forests, we can now be Blood Moon by casting Eldritch Evolution. So you could play an island for your Neoform, but then you have to play a basic island in a deck with no 1-mana blue spells. So that's a little bit weird. So instead I'm playing two basic forests, and we're going to cast Eldritch Evolution in order to beat Magus of the Moon and Blood Moon and things like that. We can also search for the basics using Generous End. It makes a lot of sense to me. So that is the game plan. And if you're unfamiliar with this deck entirely, and this is your first time ever seeing NeoBrand, the idea is that on turn 1 you would reveal a Chancellor of the Tangle, and then you would play a blue source so you could fetch using Misty Rainforest for a breeding pool. You would then play an Allosaurus Rider, exiling 2 green cards from your hand to play it for free. You could then play Neoform, this 2-mana sorcery that you sacrifice a creature like this Allosaurus Rider, and then you search your library for a creature with that mana value +1. You would grab Griselbrand. From there, you draw 14 cards, you cast a Nourishing Shoal, you exile one of your 15-mana worms, you draw 14 more cards. You keep on doing this. Eventually, you end up with no library, and you cast Gut Shot 3 times targeting your opponent. You cast Nourishing Shoal, and then you Endurance. So you loop Endurance over and over, casting Gut Shots and exiling all the green cards in your deck with this Nourishing Shoal. Eventually you get down to a perfect 7-card pile where you just keep on drawing and drawing and drawing, and then the game's over. In the sideboard, we have cards to help us against hate. So Leyline of Sanctity against that Rakdos Scam deck, decks with lots of discard, Pact of Negation for blue decks, Snapback for Dauthi Voidwalker, but also Magus of the Moon, or just, Hammer Time, things like that. Veil of Summer is for Rakdos as well, but also blue decks. Force of Vigor blows up like Leyline of the Void, but also anything that would stop us from winning, like a Pithing Needle. And then Beseiju is very similar to Force of Vigor. That is the deck. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, whatever, put those down below. But I'm really excited today to try this a little bit slower, but a lot more consistent NeoBrand deck. Alright, well, I hope you enjoy that deck tech. I will see you in the first match. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicswarm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicswarm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Match number 1, we're on the play. Alright, so we've opened up our Generous End. We have the Evolution, and we have Elven Farsight to dig for the Rider. This looks like a keep to me. Alright, I'm actually going to lead on the Misty Rainforest, and then I'll pass the turn. So we can get our Surveil land with this Misty, which is pretty good, and then on turn 2 I can play the Elven Farsight. They also have a Misty Rainforest, okay. So Bauble usually means Murktide at this point. So Pact of Negation is a card we're interested in unless our opponent foolishly taps out. And it is Izzet Murktide. They play Ragavan, yep. Oh no, I clicked too fast. Whoops. My bad. Punt, count 1. Well, I found the Summoner's Pact. How about that? Okay, accidents panning out for us here. I think I'm going to just pass the turn then. I would need our opponent to foolishly tap out here, and I don't think that's going to happen. I could have played Elven Farsight looking for a Pact of Negation, but I feel like that's a little bit foolish. Our opponent reveals one of our 15 mana worms. There's better cards that they could have flipped, but... Ooh, Ledger Shredder, okay. They play a Bauble. I mean, I would have preferred this to be in my deck, so that way I could exile it and gain 15 life, but we're still capable of winning the game. And they bend a Stern Scolding. The card that I'm worried about now is Spell Pierce, but there's not a whole lot we can do about that. We'll bin our Misty Rainforest. We don't need it. Okay, they're going to draw a card off Mishra's Bauble. We draw the other worm. Let's play Summoner's Pact. We'll grab an Allosaurus Rider, and then play the Rider, exiling the Generous Ent and the Elven Farsight. Our opponent gets the Connive trigger off of Ledger Shredder. They discard a Ragavan. And Eldritch Evolution. Wow, it resolves. Grab Griselbrand. We will pay 7 and draw 7. Let's attempt to gain 15 life. So that's my only worm, because they accidentally exiled the other one. So it might be a little bit tight to win this game now. And our opponent concedes. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's bring in Pact of Negations. We definitely want those. And I think we want the Veil of Summer. We have 65 cards in our deck, so we have to take some stuff out here. Probably the Elven Farsight. It is our worst consistency card. Or you could just accept that you're not going to turn 1 the blue deck and board out the Chancellors. I don't hate that idea. But Elven Farsight isn't great when you're boarding out creatures either. And you kind of need Chancellors to win the game, because you need a certain density of expensive spells for Nourishing Shoal. Yeah, I think I want these. I'll try boarding out 1 Evolution. It ends up being a little bit clunky against the Spell Pierce deck, so that's my thought process here. I'm also playing 1 extra land today. I usually only play 12, or I'm sorry, I usually only play 11. But by cutting the Turn Timber Symbiosis and adding in Generous Ent, it's not really a land. It's almost a land, but not quite. Alright, we have a Griselbrand in our hand, which we don't want. So this hand is already a mulligan. We have an Evolution, but we're 2 mana away from using it. The Zern Orb isn't super helpful here. So this is like a mulligan to 5. We might as well mulligan to 6. Ooh. I think we have to go to 5. We will keep. Put the Veil of Summer and Generous Ent on the bottom. Reveal the Chancellor. Spirebluff Canal, go. Okay. We draw another Evolution. We definitely didn't need a second copy of that. And then we will 4-cycle the Generous Ent. We'll grab our Surveil land, play it. Surveil 1. We don't need another Rider. That can go to the graveyard. Our opponent plays a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Basic Island. So they probably could have played this on turn 1, but they have a Spell Pierce. That's what the situation looks like. We will Abundant Harvest. We need this to resolve. Land. We hit a fetch land, which is actually really good for us. So now if I Surveil into a 3rd land, we have a win with Pact of Negation backup on my turn. The Surveil land's looking very good in match number 1 already. Mishra's Bauble. They kept that card on top. That's kind of scary. We'll fetch with Misty Rainforest. Grab another Surveil land. I'll keep another counterspell. So I still need to draw mana number 3, but against a deck that's just holding open mana, I think it's worth it to take a turn off and try to draw the counterspell here. They also grab a Surveil land, the Thundering Falls. They chose to put Expressive Iteration to the graveyard, so that's another signal that they're really respecting us and keeping their mana open. Their Dragon's Rage Channeler now has Delirium. They attack for 3. I go to 15. And they look at my top card. They draw, and they're drawing up to 5 cards. Oh, we drew Griselbrand. That's so bad. Uh-oh. They have land number 4. They attack. I'm at 12. They go to 16 here, and they play another Dragon's Rage Channeler. Come on, deck. Pretty please. This puts me to 10. We'll play Allosaurus Rider. So that means that the first Griselbrand activation has to hit Nourishing Shoal. Alright, sacrifice my rider. Spell Pierce. I will Pact of Negation. And now they get 2 Surveil triggers. And they do have a Flusterstorm. That was the one card we lost to there. Okay, we'll go to game number 3. I could have been a counterspell there, but Flusterstorm was too much. Let's just hit submit and try it again. On the play. This hand's pretty good. We will keep. I mean, having double Neoform is fantastic. Well, it's actually kind of like a mulligan, but we need to find our Allosaurus Rider. I will force cycle the Generous End, grab the Hedge Maze, play it, and Surveil 1. We can get rid of the Generous End. Opponent plays a Mishra's Bauble, and they look at my top card. They draw my upkeep, and then we draw. Another Veil of Summer, okay. Veil of Summer is a card that beats Flusterstorm. It just requires you to have even more mana. And they're just passing, holding open double blue. We will fetch. We'll grab another copy of Hedge Maze, looking for that Allosaurus Rider. That's not bad. Summoner's Pact is worth keeping. Well, let's play Veil of Summer, see if it resolves. It does not. I will play a Breeding Pool and pass the turn. We still have a win next turn with Veil of Summer back up. Our opponent plays Preordain. They've kept 2 cards on top. That's pretty scary. Ragavan, sure. Alright, so I think at this point we need our deck to not fail. Veil of Summer. They Flusterstorm. Okay. We will not pay. And then Summoner's Pact. We'll grab an Allosaurus Rider. We will play the Rider, exiling Neoform and a Chancellor of the Tangle. And then we'll play Neoform, sacrificing the Rider. Grab our other copy of Griselbrand, and now we'll pay 7. Alright, so we hit Nourishing Shoal and Summoner's Pact. Let's start by gaining 15. We're at 27. I'll draw 7. Play my land for turn. I guess I might as well Summoner's Pact because we want our deck to be a multiple of 7, and it gets us a little bit closer. I'll grab the other Worm. Abundant Harvest. I'll say non-land. And I hit the Zurin Orb. How lucky. Sacrifice. 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 And sacrifice. Let's draw 7 more. Alright, so this Summoner's Pact will make us a multiple of 7, which is perfect. Grab Endurance. Draw 7. And another copy of Nourishing Shoal. We'll gain 15. Draw 7. Draw 7. Okay. So now the tedious part. We need to ping our opponent to death using Gut Shot. So the first part of this doesn't matter as much. You just have to get to a point where your deck is 7 cards. So we're going to just cast some spells and then Endurance. Okay. I believe I have another Gut Shot in here somewhere. I do. There it is. We'll target them. Looking for my Endurance. There it is. Okay. And now you want to start by exiling cards that cost 0. Target ourselves. We have 23 cards. We'll draw some cards here. I'll go to 2 life with 2 cards left in deck. We'll Nourishing Shoal to gain more life. And you want to get to 7. 7 really is the magic number here. So we'll Gut Shot twice. And then Endurance will be card number 7. You want to target yourself first with a trigger so that way it sacrifices and then shuffles in. And now that's a perfect 7 card, so we'll draw 7. Okay, and now we've created the Doomsday Loop. I like calling it a Doomsday Loop because it's similar to Legacy Doomsday, but it's a little bit tedious at this point, so I'll narrate it once and then I'll probably just stop because you know what it looks like. Target them with a Gut Shot. Okay. Sweet. You have now seen the entire loop. We're going to do this until our opponent is dead. Alright, this will be the last time that I narrate this loop. Alright, well, we got match number 1. Our opponent got bored and conceded. So we're 1-0 with updated NeoBrand. I love that. Alright, there's 4 more matches. Hopefully we win those too. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Match number 2, we're on the play again. We've opened up Rider, Double Chancellor, and Eldritch Evolution. This is a turn 1 win. I will keep. And we already have a Nourishing Shoal. Let's go. Party time. And the best thing about opening up on Double Chancellor is that they're also the double green mana that you would, or I'm sorry, they're the double green cards you would want for Allosaurus Rider. So it's actually just perfect. We're going to Misty Rainforest and fetch out the basic forest. Okay. And now we'll Allosaurus Rider, exile the 2 Chancellors. Evolution, sacrificing the Rider. And we're in a little bit of a different situation here. I don't need to win on turn 1. Would it be nice? Absolutely. But I shouldn't cast any packs if I don't have to. So we found Nourishing Shoal, but no Worm. I'm going to exile a Rider here. We can draw 7 more cards. We missed on the Worm again. We'll exile Chancellor of the Tangle. Sorry, my laptop wanted to be plugged in there. And let's draw 7 more. That looks like a Worm. Pretty sure we still have another Shoal over here. We do. Exile the Worm. 23 cards left in our deck. I'm actually going to Endurance now. Exile a Harvest. We'll put the, because we have 3 Nourishing Shoals in the graveyard, it just makes sense to me. And then we'll Summoner's Pact right now. Pull out Endurance. And now we're a multiple of 7 again. So we'll draw 7. And we hit. We can now exile the other Worm. We could draw the rest of the deck. We have the loop. Turn 1 win. Love to see it. Okay, we're going to start exiling expensive cards. So that's 4 cards in graveyard. We'll Gut Shot. Play the Zern Orb, I guess. Can't hurt anything. Even though it only gained 2 life. Gut Shot again. Endurance, exiling a Summoner's Pact. Target ourselves. Alright, and it's already a perfect 7. No extra clicking. We'll exile another expensive card here. Maybe this Rider. Cast Gut Shot. Okay, you probably don't need to listen to me narrate this, so I will mute until this game is over. And that is game number 1. No idea what our opponent's playing. I'm going to just resubmit the same 75 because our deck is already perfect. There's nothing to change. Game number 2, we're on the draw. We've opened up a hand where if the Generous Ent was the Turn Timber Symbiosis, this would likely be a turn 2 win. But instead I have to mulligan. That said, Generous Ent has looked really good so far this league, I will say that. Alright, so we have to send that back. This is a turn 1 win as well. Bottom the Griselbrand. Reveal my Chancellor of the Tangle. Let's party. Please don't be a disruptive deck. Please just be something bad. And they're on Amulet Titan. So you're dead? Your whole family's dead? Right now? I have to imagine our opponent's going to be very angry getting turn 1 twice. Just going to throw that out there. Okay, we gain a green mana. I do have to Lightning Bolt myself here to get a breeding pool. And then we're going to Summoner's Pact. Who's the better Summoner's Pact deck? Amulet Titan or the deck turn 1ing you twice? It's a hard decision. Nobody knows. Maybe one day we'll figure it out. But as for now, you know, I'm going to try to win. Neoform. We'll grab Griselbrand. Draw 7. Play our Zern Orb, excuse me. And let's draw 7 more. We'll sacrifice our land, going up to 5. So if I cast the Pact here, our deck becomes a multiple of 7, which is exactly what we want. I'll go grab the Worm, exile the Worm, and we'll draw 7 more. Draw 7 more after that. 21 cards left in our deck. We did not draw the other Worm, but I do have a couple copies of Nourishing Shoal here. So let's cast those. We have 1 Nourishing Shoal left in the deck. We have not hit an endurance. Let's draw 7. Okay, I think I'm going to actually cast both of these. I'm going to grab the other worm, and then I'm going to Summoner's Pact. We'll grab endurance. We will exile the worm. Endurance exiling Abundant Harvest. Target ourselves. 25 cards. Draw 7 more. 7 more. Now there's 4 cards left. So we'll Nourishing Shoal. Nourishing Shoal. And now endurance should make it an even 7. I realize that it's not actually an even number, but for the purposes of Griselbrand, it is. Alright, we've drawn our deck. So now we start the loop. Okay. We win the match. Double turn 1, 2-0. This is exciting. Really feeling good about this deck list. Match number 3 coming right up. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3, we're on the draw. I've opened up a Griselbrand that we don't really want. Otherwise, this hand would be fine. I think that I'm better off just taking a mulligan. This hand is significantly better. And if we were to draw into a Rider, this could actually be a turn 1 win. So the question is, do you bottom the Chancellor or do you bottom the Pact of Negation? And I think the Chancellor is really only good if I draw exactly the Rider, so I'm going to bottom the Rider. Or I'm sorry, bottom the Chancellor. I don't know if the Pact of Negation will be good, but if they're on a blue deck, I'm going to want it. Inspiring Vantage. So they're on burn. So I would have been better off keeping the Chancellor in hindsight, but I didn't know. I didn't know. Our opponent suspends Riftbolt, and now they're passing very slowly. We draw Breeding Pool. I'm going to play Elven Farsight. We'll put the land on the bottom, the worm on the bottom, and then we're going to keep the Generous Ent just so that way this card is replacing itself. Riftbolt will come off Suspend and deal me 3. Ouch. They fetch using Scalding Tarn. Eidolon of the Great Revel. That is going to be tough for us to beat, but it is possible. One of the easiest ways is just by attacking with Griselbrand. Not even combo winning, but that means that we have to find the Rider. I will play Elven Farsight. We'll take 2. I'm going to bottom all of these. We'll use the Elven Farsight, and I revealed Pact of Negation. I don't want that. So I'm just going to be lazy and fetch now. I go to 14. We'll grab our Surveil land, put the evolution to the graveyard, pass the turn. I'm currently short a green card at the moment. Like, even if I were to find the Rider, I can't use it. Another Eidolon. Brutal. But I mean, if we could just draw Griselbrand, this game, I'm sorry, draw the Rider, this game is still winnable. Well, it's a green card technically. We'll play Breeding Pool. Our opponent attacks for 4. We'll fall to 8 life. Even if I were to draw the Rider here, I don't think we can win. Because the Neoform would put me to 4 and then I'm just dead. Alright, we can go to game number 2. We're going to want Leyline of Sanctity. And then probably Snapback. You could also bring in Force of Vigor since it hits Eidolon. But Snapback would stop. I guess they're probably not going to board in the Paladin of whatever. The card that exiles red and black cards. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But Force of Vigor does blow up double Eidolon. We're at 64. Need to take out some cards here. Probably Elven Farsight. Let's try this. On the play for game number 2. This is a turn 2 win. I guess I'll keep. The best thing that could happen would be that our Verdant Catacombs finds the Surveil land, and then we see a green card, because I really, really don't want to exile the Nourishing Shoal. Alright, so Verdant Catacombs pass. Inspiring Vantage. Monastery Swiftspear. Okay, we'll go to 19. Fetch. Grab that Surveil land. We'll keep the Neoform on top. Play the Forest. We'll Rider exiling the Summoner's Pact in Neoform. And then we're going to put a giant demon on the battlefield. Let's draw 7 cards. I'll draw 7 more. Okay, completely missed. I think the best thing we can do here is actually just pass the turn. And I could kill the Monastery Swiftspear, putting myself to 13, if that's something I'm interested in. I feel like I might as well. I don't want to show them Leyline, by the way, so I'm going to hide that in my hand. Alright, we're going to discard 2 lands and an Abundant Harvest. Play Misty Rainforest, let's attack for 8. Swing, swing. They have the Skullcrack, okay. So I go to 10. They go to 11. Abundant Harvest, we'll say non-land. We hit a Nourishing Shoal. I should wait to cast that. I can't gain life this turn. Whoops. And then we'll Abundant Harvest again, I'll say non-land. And I hit the other Nourishing Shoal. Sure, yeah, I'll take it. I love that for us. Endurance, okay, we'll attack with Griselbrand. Swing. Another Skullcrack, but we can respond to that and gain some life here. And then I'll gain 6 more. Sweet. Game number 3. I think I'm just going to stay the course and resubmit. So we have Neoform. We can Chancellor into Jenner's End. I don't think that this is actually good enough. This hand is good enough. So we'll put the Griselbrand on the bottom. And then Leyline onto the battlefield. We have Summoner's Pact to go get our Rider. And then we already have Neoform. So we just need to draw green cards. Our opponent missed their first combat step. And then they play a post-combat Goblin Guide. Abundant Harvest. We'll play a Misty Rainforest and pass. Scalding Tarn. Roiling Vortex. That is very good against me. And I only have 2 copies of Force of Vigor. We reveal another Leyline of Sanctity. It also stops me from gaining life. Like, this card is so brutal. We'll fetch. Grab the Hedge Maze. Okay. Bin the Leyline. I'll take 1. I go to 16. Nourishing Shoal. So I'm going to take 5. I go to 11. Grab the Rider. Yeah, I can't win. I'll take 5 more here. Yeah, I just can't beat Roiling Vortex. And I have the Nourishing Shoal, but I can't do anything. And I'm just dead to my Summoner's Pact. I mean, we had a really good hand. It's just, like, I can't beat Roiling Vortex. I probably could have beaten Eidolon with a Great Revel there, though. And now we die to our own Summoner's Pact trigger. And that's the ball game. So we are now 2-1 with 2 matches left to go. Womp womp. You're still watching. Make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Match number 4, we're on the play. We've won the die roll, and we have the Allosaurus Rider. We are missing a Neoform effect. I think that this is worth keeping. We can Generous End to look for a Surveil land and then Elven Farsight. So on turn 2, we can look at up to 5 cards. Okay. Play the basic forest and just pass. It's worth noting that here, Generous End is significantly better than a Turn Timber Symbiosis because of the fact that it, 1, makes blue, but also just helps us dig for the card we're looking for. Mishra's Bauble into black. Okay, that's a little odd. Sure, Duress resolves. I believe the pick here is actually Elven Farsight, but let's see what our opponent chooses. Summoner's Pact. I don't care about that card at all. We will cycle Generous End, pick up a Hedge Maze. They'll draw a random card, and then so will we. Our random card was Abundant Harvest. Let's play our land. I don't know if it matters which one you're supposed to play first here, but oh well. We'll bottom the Summoner's Pact, bottom the Wurm, and then I'm actually going to keep the Chancellor just as a green card to exile. You could try to be a little bit more daring and just flip the top card, but that's not me. Not against the black deck full of discard. Sorry. They play an Urza's Saga. Lantern of Insight. You're on Lantern? Wow. Okay, this might actually be kind of a tough matchup. Who knows? So we're going to draw Elven Farsight. Let's Abundant Harvest. I think I actually want the land. And now we'll Elven Farsight. They could just mill this, unfortunately. We'll say yes, we'll take the Rider, and then we'll play our Hedge Maze, keep the Evolution on top. And I think I'm supposed to play out a Rider now. Just try to pressure their life total if they're going to lock me out. Maybe, I mean, I could have just played double Rider instead and exiled both Shoals. But that means I can't win the combo way. Urza Saga goes to the second chapter. They play another Urza Saga. So I don't know if keeping the other Rider actually would have been good with the second Saga here. Back for 4. They create a construct token. And now they're going to make another. They pick up another Codex Shredder. And they're attacking for 5. Yeah, I think I messed up this game. Instead of keeping the land on top, I should have just said non-land and prayed that I hit a Neoform effect, because I was never going to be able to get through their Codex Shredder lock. So I think that's my own fault. We'll bring in Besagus. We don't need Pact Negation. And I want Force of Vigor. Let's board out 2 copies of Elven Farsight and try this out. Yeah, I think I punted by the sequence that I made that turn. Like, I should have never have kept the land on top. I should have just binned it, knowing that I was about to be locked out of the game. Actually, we saw Duress. I should probably have Ley Lines in my deck. See if I can board them in quickly. Take out 2 Abundant Harvest. Try this. Like, we saw Duress. They're probably going to bring in Thoughtseize too. And Leyline of Sanctity stops Codex Shredder. There's a lot of consistency cards out of her deck, though. Game number 2, we're on the play. And this is a turn 1 win. We will keep. Reveal the Chancellor. We'll play our Breeding Pool. Ouch, I go to 18. We'll play the Allosaurus Rider, exiling the Evolution and Chancellor of the Tangle. Make a blue mana and Neoform. Griselbrand, let's draw 7. 7 more. We hit the Worm, which is great. Gain 15. Alright, we're at 19. Our opponent concedes. We're off to game number 3. I'm going to keep the deck as is. I think you just want to be fast, and I really don't know how good the Elven Farsight Abundant Harvests are in this matchup, so I'm going to just try this. This might be the best list that I've played where Chancellor of the Tangle is. So in a lot of previous lists, you ran Preordain or the Turn Timber Symbiosis, and here, I mean, not in this current configuration, but you have 8 1-mana green spells, and then you have 4 Generous Ent that you can use with the Chancellor, so it's almost wrong to board out Chancellor now, where previously I used to keep it in all the time. And this is just a turn 2 win. Keep. I mean, I wish I had a Leyline of Sanctity over one of these lands, but you're not allowed to mulligan this. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. Do they take the Neoform or the Rider? Apparently they take Neoform. They play a Bauble. Griselbrand, not a very good draw. Neoform on top. Alright, I don't think that they have removal, so I'm going to play out the Rider here. They play Urza Saga. If they had a Lantern or something here, that would be pretty bad for me. Or a Codex Shredder. They have the Needle. They have Needle. Oh, that's devastating. They name Griselbrand. Okay. Play the Forest, attack for 3. This puts them to 15. And then we're going to Neoform. We have an 8/8 Flying Demon with lifelink. Duress, and look at my other Griselbrand. Codex Shredder, okay. My best draw here is Besaju. Endurance is fine. Attack for 8. They're at 7. Urza Saga hits the 3rd chapter. They can now get a spell out of their, well, an artifact spell out of their deck that costs either 1 or 0. I'm not sure what Lantern's playing these days that answers Griselbrand. Our opponent says GG. GG's opponent. We're now 3-1. 1 match left to go. Let's finish this with a strong 4-1 record. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? We've made it simple to do so by including a button to rent the entire deck at theepicstorm.com/decklist. The final match, we're on the play. Our opponent reveals a Jegantha the Wellspring. We've opened up a hand that doesn't really function, so we're going to send it back. This seems pretty good to me. Keep bottom the Evolution? So I'm choosing to bottom the evolution here, which might be a little bit odd, but my thought process is I want the Zuran Orb for when I'm mid-comboing, because it might be the difference between an extra draw step. The downside is if I end up short on green cards. Elven Farsight on the stack. And this is perfect. Okay. We're all set with a turn 2 win. Sacred Foundry. Ragavan. Okay. I'm not really sure what that means with Gigantha, but I'm going to try to dead our opponents, so I don't know if it matters all that much. We'll grab a forest, play the Allosaurus Rider, exiling Neoform and Elven Farsight, and then blue-green, we'll play Neoform, sacrificing the Rider, grab Griselbrand, play the Zuran Orb from hand. Let's draw 7 cards. We found Nourishing Shoal plus the Wurm, so we'll gain 15 life. Okay, let's draw 7. If I use this Summoner's Pact, our deck will be a multiple of 7. But I want to see if we draw into another Shoal before doing so. Okay, I'll go to 11. We hit the other Shoal, so we'll gain 15 more. Cast the Summoner's Pact. We'll grab Endurance. Sacrifice the Forest. That brings us up to 28. Sacrifice the Breeding Pool. And we can now draw the rest of our library. Draw 7. Draw 7. We'll gain some more life along the way, why not? Draw 7 more. And the rest of our deck. Okay. Cast another Nourishing Shoal, and now I'll ping my opponent. We have 11 cards in the graveyard, about to be 12. So I shouldn't try to go over, I should try to make it exactly 14. This will be 13. Endurance will be 14. Okay, we'll target ourselves with the Endurance. Draw 7. We'll gain 7 life. Gain 6 life. And at this point, we have the win. We just have to execute the combo. Target them with the Gut Shot. And you've seen this loop before, so I'm just going to mute, and I'll see you when the game is over. I have convinced my opponent to concede to victory. Well, concede to boredom, I don't know. Words are tough, and it's almost midnight as I record this. It's pretty late. Working a full job, I mean, this is not my full-time gig. I work a full 40-hour job every week. I have a kid, I have a wife. You know, I work out in the evenings as well, so it's pretty late. I'm a little bit tired, but we're going to see if I can hold it together just a little bit longer and get one more game win. So Ragavan and Sacred Foundry Gigantha. I feel like I should know what this is, but I don't. I'm going to bring in Force of Vigor and Beseiju. Board out the Pact and Negations. And I'll cut 2 copies of the Elven Farsight. Let's try this out. Our opponent begins game number 2 by revealing Gigantha. We have the Rider and we have Elven Farsight. What we don't have is a Neoform effect. We have access to 2 different Surveil lands here, or we can mulligan. I know that this probably seems crazy, but if I'm going to mulligan this, if one of these 4 lands was another green card, I would probably keep. But my concern is that this is a slow hand that's low on green cards, and I have to find a Neoform. Sending it back. So this could be a turn 1 if I draw exactly Eldritch Evolution. I'm going to go to 5. I'm not going to 4, so we'll keep bottom Griselbrand, bottom Gut Shot. Okay. Flooded Strand. Sacred Foundry is back. So is Ragavan. I could have kept the Gut Shot, but I didn't. We'll play Breeding Pool. And let's Elven Farsight. Okay. We'll put the land in the middle. And then Rider on top. So now we're just a Neoform effect away. Ragavan will connect, they'll hit a land. Elven Farsight has looked really good when you have 18 creatures in your deck, I will say that. They get a treasure. Meddling Mage? What? I probably can't beat this. Yep, I am stone cold to Meddling Mage. Alright, game number 2. We'll bring in our snapbacks. So they're on Blue Zoo. Probably want some number of Pact Negation. They are a deck with interaction. And then we'll board out the Force of Vigor Beseijus. We don't need those. I'm still over for cards, though. This is going to sound crazy. I'm going to do a 2-2 split with Elven Farsight and Eldritch Evolution. Okay. It's just Evolution can be a little clunky sometimes. This hand is not a keepable hand. We'll go to 6. I suppose we can keep this. Bottom the endurance. Play wooded foothills, pass the turn. They also have a wooded foothills. Oh, it happened again. I clicked too fast and I wasn't able to get my surveil land. Dummy Bryant. Okay, so we'll fetch a basic. And I guess I'll get a breeding pool. I'll go to 16. Abundant harvest. We'll say non-land. And I think they might be holding open stubborn denial, so I'm going to just pass here, and I can cycle the generous end for this scry land. I would not be surprised if our opponent mulliganed to turn 2 meddling mage. They pick up a Zagoth Triome that is the Sultai Triome. And that makes blue-white, but they're tapping for red. So maybe they are holding open a counterspell. There's a Ragavan. So having the Pact of Negation's good, but I would have to find the Rider. We'll cycle Generous End. We'll pick up our Maze. And I found Rider, wow. So the problem is I would be exiling my Nourishing Shoal and then trying to win with a Pact trigger, which makes me very, very nervous. But if I take the hit from Ragavan, I get 1 less draw, so I think I'm supposed to just push here. And I'm really punished by cycling the Generous End. That said, we shuffled our deck, and who knows if I would have drawn this or not. Okay. Neoform. They have the Stubborn Denial. I will Pact of Negation. So now we have to win. Right now with only 3 copies of Nourishing Shoal. Neoform. We'll grab Griselbrand. I'm going to play my land because it gives me 1 extra look. We don't want a Summoner's Pact. Okay, here goes nothing. Draw 7. We hit. Beautiful. I will gain 15. Will Summoner's Pact again? Let's go grab the other worm. So that way if we draw one of the 2 remaining Nourishing Shoals, I can gain 15 more. Draw 7. We also have a Zern Orb I would like to draw. Okay, that was a miss. Let's draw 7. We hit the Zern Orb. Okay. That was good. Because that means that we get an extra draw 7 here. Boom. I wonder if I'm supposed to... I only have 1 Nourishing Shoal left in my deck, right? No, I don't. I still have 2. Okay, so I shouldn't use the Endurance yet. Let's draw 7. No Nourishing Shoal. Okay, draw 7. There's 2 Nourishing Shoals left in my deck. We missed. Ugh. Wow. 2 Nourishing Shoals in the bottom 10 cards in my library. Brutal. That was the risk. Okay, so unfortunately this league ended up being a 3-2. It's a heartbreaker of a 5th match. That was essentially a win, but we couldn't, cross the finish line. The deck list felt really good to me. I really thought that the Generous Ent plus Hedge Maze over the Turntimber Symbiosis and Goldlands felt pretty good. We never saw a Magus of the Moon, so the basics never really came up. But I thought that this felt really good. I really liked Abundant Harvest and Elven Farsight with our Chancellor of the Tangles. I would play this deck list again. I really would. My only concern now is, do we really have enough blue cards to support Snapback? Could it be something else? My problem with Dismember is that you're a deck that really uses its life total, so I don't love Dismember. And Snapback hits Dothy Voidwalker where something like Slaughter Pact doesn't. So there's some give and some take. You could also just play... I know that some people in the past have just played unsummon effects, but I always liked Snapback not slowing you down a turn, but maybe it's not an option anymore. Just some food for thought. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great day, and as always, keep storming. Hey you! Yeah, you! Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can visit theepicstorm.com/donation-decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier. It's totally worth it, I promise. And see ya. Thanks for watching.